I love Blackpool. I grew up in Blackpool. I think it's a really interesting place. Lots of people find it quite grotty, and I'm trying to look for the romance there. I think there is, and I suppose the show's looking at, can Blackpool be lovable again? Because people, you start talking about it, you say, oh, I'm from Blackpool, and people go, oh, I used to go there when I was growing up, and I've got so many fond memories of being in the bed and breakfast, because I grew up in a bed and breakfast. And we had Sissy and Ethel and Jenny and Arthur. They turned into my uncles and aunties because they came that often. And they'd have a little nip of whiskey for breakfast and cups of tea at night time. So the breakfast, yeah, it was a funny place. Oh, it's for my joints, and it was the kind of bed and breakfast, like proper old school. You had to ask for the plug for the bath, right? Everyone shared the bathroom. Had a sink in the bedrooms. You didn't have to have a bath every day. And I thought it was a lovely place to grow up. So I have that kind of romance about the place.
So is this still in like sort of the glory days of Blackpool, so to speak, when it was still a thriving tourist haven?
Yeah, but now, I mean, I wandered through the streets of Blackpool looking for people to interview, to find. I had this like romantic, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. It's just amazing. And within like 5 minutes I'd seen a stag do openly take drugs in front of a family of 4. Some homeless people smoking crack in a pound store doorway. And people being sick outside of shenanigans. So obviously there's not huge amounts of romance. Everybody that I've asked where's the most romantic place in Blackpool, they've all said under the pier. North Pier specifically. It's got benches. There's people, you know, under Central Pier.
Says a lot about the place, doesn't it?
So I saw this poster around Blackpool, my 1964 Blackpool Pleasure Beach Girl, and lots of people went, oh, you've got to find out this story. And I phoned up the guy, and he talked about like finding his love in 1964, and they went on the most perfect 5 dates for his whole life, and he's remembered it, and now he's in his 70s and he wants to find her again. I thought there's a certain level of romance there. I'll not tell you the rest of the story because it's not PG, but I thought, yeah, there's a certain level of romance there that still exists, and how this town that's kind of going to seed or gone to seed is still part of our national identity in a way. Lots of seaside towns, they have that kind of romance about them. And how where you grow up affects who you are and your own identity. So that's what I've been looking at. But yeah, whilst also interviewing people and trying to find love stories.
So where have you gone to interview them? Where have you found these
men's
stories?
Clubs, day centres, Catholic Hall, cabaret bars, the street, family members, people that have come to gigs, and I've talked about Blackpool, and afterwards they've come up to me and gone, oh, I'm from Blackpool, or I've got a story about Blackpool, and then you go, all right, fabulous, and then I get my little recorder out, and I'm still going around and interviewing people. So yeah, it just, people are, I thought it was going to get really difficult. I had like a list of questions in the interviews, try and do leading questions, and you sit down and you go, tell me about Blackpool, and they go, blah, 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 and they start talking. It's fabulous.
I think Blackpool's the place that everybody's got a memory of, one way or another, whether they're growing up or present day and stuff. So you find that people are sort of passionate about the place, in spite of or despite it. Despite everything, they've got some sort of story. Oh, I got beaten up there. Yeah, that's whatever it is.
Yeah. I used to go dancing at Tower Ballroom.
Yeah, see,
as a little child with my grandparents.
Yeah, because that Thursday night used to be my night to go and have to sit and watch my mum and dad do their ballroom dancing on Thursday night. Yeah, spinning round. That in itself has its own kind of romance.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people remember it for. The ballroom dancing. I remembered it for that horrible club with the rotating dance floor that they used to have. but that's closed down now.
Yeah, they're a dance floor. Yeah, so there'll be audio throughout the show, just little snippets of that, and then my own stories, a few love letters that have been found that I'm reading out.
Oh, where have you found them?
My friend's auntie grew up had her heyday in Blackpool, and there's some interesting stories in there. And I'm still finding different people, like some people have got their love letters and they're not willing to share them for obvious reasons, but there's still a few stories out there to get. So yeah, there's the reading out of some of the love letters, some of my own tragic love stories from Blackpool, along with some songs throughout, to try, because like there's that whole cabaret scene, like still you walk through all of the bars and it's 9 cabaret acts a night, seven nights a week. Oh my god. But there's still that kind of club singer vibe going. It's still the
and the Illuminations as well.
Yeah, the Illuminations. First place to have light bulbs. Blackpool.
Is that going to be in the show? Factoid.
Hitler loved Blackpool.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's in the Telegraph, must be true. He wanted to turn Stanley Park into his sort of strategic planning for how to take over the world, and he wanted to make it like his funland. Apparently. And Blackpool Tower is built on straw. Those are the most interesting factoids I've got so far.
Wow, how does it stay up?
The way you've been talking about it is, are you aiming specifically for it to be sort of a nostalgia piece? Because a lot of what you're saying is like everybody's got these stories about what Blackpool used to be like.
I know, I'm trying to avoid this kind of, the good old days when domestic abuse was acceptable and you could still rape your wife. The good old days. Because it wasn't. I imagine it was shit. However, I think there's nostalgia now to be had in what's happening now. So my own nostalgia about my own life, people's nostalgia about the place, but then trying to figure out where we are now. So it's still in that process, the show.
So you're going to create a book afterwards?
Yes, of everyone's stories that I've spoken to. So I mean, someone I spoke to, they used to walk the tigers and the elephants on the beach. That was only in the 80s. Like, that was when I was aware of the world. That was still happening. So things have changed so much in the last 30 years. So yeah, I've got those kind of stories. I'm going to start writing them out and hopefully make a book of everyone's.
What's your background then? What have you? How did you start off performing?
Doing little turns in front of the guests at the bed and breakfast. Do your nursery rhymes. I was a very shy child. Because in Blackpool it's all tits and teeth. Gotta sing, gotta dance, all very showy, and then so you get forced into performing because you're shy, so you think, well, I'll just perform. So I used to have to do sales. I was a saleswoman for a while. I used to have to sell 6-in-1 makeup. That's right, 6-in-1 makeup. It's dreadful stuff. Then all of those different jobs. So then I ended up going to college to study performing, and then I did singing lessons with Mike. I had to do show tunes. Then I went out and did those in different shows. So then I came to Manchester and did performing and started doing stand-up. So it was just that kind of natural progression of going, right, what's going to make money? What's going to make some money? And then you go, right, well, I can trundle around with my guitar and sing in clubs.
So you weren't tempted to go into the acting or into musicals or something like that?
I couldn't do the musicals, can't dance. I tried, went for the auditions. I was like the lumpiest teenager. It was ridiculous. Everybody else was like, oh my god, da da da, and I kind of shuffle in with my wobbly knees and a baggy leotard. It's not for me, I don't fit in here. So then I went into acting. I played bottom at the Globe.
Nice.
Thought I was going to be the next big thing. And the next job I got was working for a theatre company touring schools in A Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I had to play both Susan and the witch because they didn't have a big enough budget for both. So every time the Susan every time the witch had to come back on stage, Susan had to find a reason to leave the stage. Oh my God, I think I see some wild flowers over there, and then rush off and get changed really quickly. So yeah. Ridiculous.
Makes you a more versatile performer.
Exactly.
I suppose that's what you were saying, doing a little bit of everything growing up. Sure, it just means you've got a much more diverse skill set.
You have no other choice in Blackpool. There's no job for life, so you've got to keep moving on seasonal jobs, next job. So it makes you...
So it teaches you to sort of hustle as well.
Yeah, you have to. I suppose like working in different schools and in different youth groups in different areas, I've found that. You think, gosh, you think you're going to have a job for life and you're not. You've got to try and think of something different and utilise your skills in a different way. Which I think,
even the way you were just saying, like doing sales was like makeup, that's a performance and an act in itself.
It is,
just a less
I'll pretend to be something else. Yeah.
Do you see this Love Letters from Blackpool is a premiere at the Fringe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you see it going on tour afterwards?
Yeah, I'd like to take on tour next spring.
Yeah.
I've done like obviously little bits in shows and like tried out bits of material.
Yeah.
But as a full arcing narrative altogether, it's the first outing of it.
Yeah. Right.
So what about your own love life? Are you in love at the moment? Is it, or has it been really difficult doing this?
Awful. No, why have I chose to write a show about love when mine's so depressing? Why? It's dreadful. So yeah, sitting there listening to, I've been married for 40 years, great for you, thanks. Also, just finding that, like trying to figure out is having 5 of the most perfect dates and falling in love any less valid than having a 50-year miserable marriage? I mean, well, what's the difference, I guess?
I suppose if you're looking at, say, old love letters, that's a very idealised version of love that.
But after 50 years,
maybe isn't necessarily true even in the moment. It just means they're quite good at spinning a yarn.
Exactly.
So I suppose you've got that to contend with as well.
Yeah, my parents' love story is so romantic that the reality of it, you think, God, it must have been rubbish. The reality of it, living in a caravan for a year before moving somewhere, that must have been dreadful. But you can romanticise things. My ideal date, going on, doing something physical, like going on a big walk, or I went on a date last year and I went wall climbing, so dead physical, and then afterwards I'm having a really nice meal and a very good pint. Yeah, a well-deserved pint.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah. That's my perfect.
So no one asked you out while you were asking all these questions about love at all?
No. One guy started talking inappropriately and I had to end the phone call. Apart from that.
Oh, well.
No dates, no.
Oh, you never know, someone might turn up with red roses. Bring their own love letter.
See, that's it. Because I'm a massive romantic. I think that's my problem. Yeah, I'm looking for something.
So it's reinforced your belief in love?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.